Today, I'm taking you through a golf-specific workout straight from my online program, Golf Level 1 Golf Motion Blueprint. This session is designed to directly improve your golf game while helping you explore new patterns in functional training. We're training total body movement, every joint, all three planes of motion, building mobility, stability, coordination, and strength together, not in isolation. Because the golf swing is not isolated, it is integrated. When you improve mobility under controlled load, you don't just move more, you move better. That means a more efficient swing, more club head speed, cleaner pressure shifts, stronger ground force reactions through the spinal engine, and ultimately more power, more consistency, and fewer aches and pains. This program is designed to be accessible. All you need is a dumbbell or either cable machine or resistance band. Additional equipment is optional. It just gives you more ways to progress. My name is Coach Sean with RC Golf Performance, and I coach golfers to move better as humans so they can move better as athletes. Today's total body workout emphasis a little bit more on those diagonal and spiral fascial lines around the body, and the workout is called the Great White Shark. So starting off in station number 1, we're gonna go ahead and grab a dumbbell here. We're gonna start that dumbbell at shoulder with about feet shoulder width apart. We're gonna start off with the same hip side swing. So notice how I'm not trying to drop that weight down, I'm trying to swing it back and thrust using the pelvis to get it back to shoulder. This is gonna allow that side core to contract so that way we're not toppling over to the side. However, that is the first part of the movement. We're gonna go hip to shoulder and then opposite hip back to that same side shoulder. So watch that a few times here. So going same side hip swing, opposite hip, back to shoulder. So going side to side. Now you may notice the first movement is a little bit more of a swing. The second movement is a little bit more of a drop, and then power that back home. So when we go to that outside hip, what we're doing is we're loading that back glute. We're getting long from that hip to the opposite shoulder on the back side. And then we're trying to use that length on the back side to pull that back up to shoulder. So watch that a couple times here. Get that length, power it back home. And then we'll do the same thing on the opposite side. So switch shoulders, go same side hip, opposite hip, feel that length through that glute load, through that back side of the body, and pull that back up to shoulder. Obviously, a tweak down is we can just stay, say, a few reps on one side. Then if you even want to get the hip, then just do a few reps to that opposite hip. Kind of tweak that down there. Okay. Next exercise here, we can either stick with the dumbbell and hold it on both ends, or grab a medicine ball here. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna start feet shoulder width apart, weight at side hip. From here, whichever side the implement is on, so the medicine ball's on my right, I'm gonna step with my left into that forward lunge. Now, as we step forward, we're gonna swing it to opposite shoulder. So again, working on those diagonal fascia lines there. Notice how it's just like our lunge matrix where I'm trying to load into that left side, keeping that back leg nice and straight, heel off the ground. We can always have a little bit of a pressure shift to that side so we can change elevation in our hip height and stretch a little bit of that inner thigh. A tweak down here would be either holding the weight kind of at our chest and just going through those lunges here. Another option here is hold the lunge and just swing it from hip to shoulder. A tweak up is where we can actually go into more of a swing or a press overhead. So I'm going to show you two options here. So see how as I'm stepping, really trying to get full rotation, keep those arms as straight as you can overhead. This is where you may feel restricted, where it's like we can't get the arms as high as possible there. So really trying to stretch for that length. Again, the other option is instead of swinging all the way up, we can go to shoulder first, then press and return home. Okay, I'll just show you the same thing on the other side. So here's one, tweak up, or go into that full motion. Moving on to our next exercise, we have a single arm press, but this is gonna be a backside coil. So we're gonna hold the implement in one hand, I have it in my right, opposite foot is gonna go into that stride stance. So opposite foot forward, pressure over that forward side, heel off the ground, just like our last position here. Now this is where we're trying to coil to that back hip. Notice how my head is actually over that back foot, not over the forward foot. So over the back foot, feel long out of that opposite elbow. And from here, we're trying to do a decline press. So notice how I have this anchor, it's up a little higher. We can always do the same with a mid anchor as well. So we can always change that up from week to week. And now press. Now the reason why I like this one so much is this is where we get into impact. So as a right-handed golfer, that is where we're using that core and kind of trying to press through that motion. So again, backside coil, press, hold that coil. We're not trying to rotate the spine in that frontal plane. So hold that position and press straight forward. Feel that right oblique contraction kind of engaging in and rooting in to that side core, feeling long out of the opposite side and press. All right, next one here. I'm gonna give you a little visual with the dots here. So act like we have two dots. Notice how I'm not standing in the center of the dots, I'm kind of to the side. Whichever side we're standing to those dots, I'm gonna go into a single leg balance. From here, I'm gonna try to reach the foot back to the dot and then forward. And notice how my body has to kind of counterbalance. I'm not just trying to move my foot there, I'm trying to really get a big reach. And option one is where we can tap and tap. If we have to tweak this down, just grab something to hold on to here. If you're standing on your right, hold it in your right and kind of reach. And you go through this nice and slow if you want. The tweak up would be removing the stick and actually starting to balance entirely to where we're not touching the ground. Again, if we have to tap, always tap, that's fine, but trying to get through as much range as we can. And notice how my upper body is trying to counterbalance. So my upper body's not stable. I may even be adding some rotation to kind of get that load and reach as far out. So it's kind of building up that outside edge of that leg, creating a little bit of stability and ankle mobility and stability there. Okay. So again, definitely don't need the dots, but just so you can visualize kind of reaching posterior, so behind me and a little lateral and out in front. Okay. Moving on to the next one, we're gonna do a lateral lunge with an overhead press. So we're gonna hold dumbbell at shoulder. Whichever side we're holding that dumbbell, we're gonna take that same side lateral lunge. I do encourage the toes to stay forward. If they feel like they need to bail out, if that's what feels more comfortable, that's fine. If we do have any knee pain with the toes out, try to turn those in. We may even need to direct our eyes and kind of look at the toes from there. Now from here, we're gonna do a press, and then I'd like you to reach the arm across, and as we reach the arm across, you'll see this from the side view here. As we step and press, reach the arm, it actually drops that shoulder into a tilting position. So notice how my right side is gonna actually crunch a little bit, engaging that core, and the opposite side is getting nice and long. That is our type 1 spinal locomotion in arm reaches. So step out. Notice how that dumbbell may have to rotate as I go to the top. I can even drive my eyes and rotate in the direction that I'm pressing, okay? The tweak down here would be first remove the press if we had to. So can we still get that same spinal locomotion? Make sure that forward shoulder is dropping a little bit down. That's getting really good length on the inner thigh. It's giving us the ability to work internal rotation and loading into that glute. Again, that's how we load into our backswing and even get into our follow-through position as well. The other option is we can do the press and we remove that arm reach. However, that's only going to get us to go in that frontal plane, so side to side, versus adding a little bit of that rotation here, okay? If we want to tweak it up, this is where we can always kind of press as we step versus a step, then press, all right? Moving on to the last and final exercise for today. This is where I'm going to encourage an elevated surface, like a chair, like a box. Obviously, the higher it is, the easier it is. If we even feel this is too easy on the box, then go ahead and do it on the floor. It makes it a little bit more challenging as that floor is lower. So what we're going to do, we're going to put our hands on the box, try to keep the arms, the hands below the shoulder, not way out here. It may it's going to stretch the lats a little bit, but it may put a little pressure on the wrists or those shoulders. So from here, we're going to kind of float this back leg. Again, if we have to tap, tap, but it's kind of a single leg balance. We're going to go, if I'm right leg up, I'm going to take that knee and drive it to the same side elbow, and then opposite elbow. Same side elbow, opposite elbow. Okay, now looking at that from the face-on view, what we'll notice is if I go to the same side elbow, we're getting this little frontal plane kind of side bend and frontal plane action. But when I go opposite elbow, now we're creating rotation. So you're working in two different planes there. So outside elbow, inside elbow. And float that leg if we can. If we had to, we can always keep the foot planted and do one leg at a time. Or we can even split it up where we do about 5 or 10 on one side, and even on the next round or halfway through that round, you can switch to the opposite elbow. You can see here when I'm doing this, I'm fairly stable into a plank position. We don't really have to drive into that. So keep that nice and stable. Most of that motion is going to be either from the hips or that thoracic spine mobility. If that is still a little bit challenging, again, elevate the box first. But if we have to, we can just use our spine first going side to side and then trying to get a little rotation. So I'll show you that last thing. So side to side, we can drive with our spine or drive with our hips. And then this would be more of the rotation. If you want to build a swing that's stronger, faster, and more consistent, this is exactly how we train inside the Level 1 Golf Motion Blueprint. Structured golf performance training, not random workouts. If you found this helpful, hit like, subscribe to the channel, and check out the full program in the description. Let's keep building a body that performs on and off the golf course. I'll see you in the next one.